everybody, welcome back to my channel. So good to see you guys again. I am happy to be back, and today I just want to jump straight into the video because it will be filled with context and pictures and details, just in case if you're not filled in on what I'm going to be talking about today. So today I'm going to be talking about a show that is been sparking my interest, that's said a lot about the culture and what's going on, and it's been a reflection of the conversations that need to be had. And as you guys know, show reviews and film and TV in general is something I like to incorporate into my channel. And so today I'm going to be talking about one of those shows that have sparked my interest as of lately. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of hard these days to hold my interest with television because everything is so geared towards humor and pop culture and social media that sometimes it's hard to really grasp me and pull me in. But this show has done a great job about speaking to what's true of what's going on right now, and also keeping that relevancy and that freshness and that newness. So we're going to be talking about, please ignore the dog, don't know who's attacking him. But we are going to be talking about a show called I May Destroy You. This show is curated by Michaela Coel, who is a writer, film director, and actor, and she's based out of the UK. So it is UK television that's brought to us through streaming to the United States, and we're able to see it and be a part of the audience that watches it. And I'm just going to be highlighting like 3 to 4 points that I really like about this show, and I just want to spark the conversation. If you watch this show, please say it in the comments below, or if you know any other shows that are similar to this that combat very realistic concepts and real life issues, please let me know of that too, because I love realism TV. I love TV that's a reflection of what's going on right now and doesn't really cause us to escape from what's going on, but instead opens up the door for conversation. So I'm about to get my notebook. I wrote some notes. I got prepared for you guys today for this show, so give me 1 second to pull those up and we will get into the points. So basically, It May Destroy You is centered around 3 best friends by the names of Annabella, Terry, and Kwame. And each of them are venturing out on their journey to 20-somethings, talking about consent, respectability politics, basically like how to grow through trauma is basically what the show is confronting. And a lot of times we have shows that talk about your first time, so your first time having sex or your first time falling in love, or you have it totally left where the person is seasoned and they're talking about life after your predominant years and how to live. But we never really have shows that address that medium of learning to grow and being in adulthood, but also still feeling very new and fresh to certain concepts and certain life lessons that we haven't learned yet. So it's centered around those 3 friends, Annabella, Terry, and Kwame, which I'll show a clip of them in a second if you aren't tuned into the show. And so we'll get into a couple of things, but before I do that, I do want to address that the reason why I became a fan of Michaela Coel is because of her show Chewing Gum on Netflix, and that is also another show that talks about your first time having sex. It explores certain taboo topics with a lot of humor, and it's basically about a young girl named Tracy, and she's living in the slums of the UK, and that's based off of her real experience. She grew up in the slums of UK, and she basically navigated her life with community in the hood, and she basically tries to highlight an everyday girl in the UK learning and navigating her life. So that's originally how I became a fan, and I was just really sparked by her work, and the show automatically ended out of nowhere. So I was very happy to hear when I May Destroy You came about. For some reason I've been saying It May Destroy You, but maybe that's my sentiments towards the show as in a conceptual sense, is it, not it. But it is called I May Destroy You. So I'm going to get into like a couple of my concepts that I love about the show. The rawness. So it basically shows period sex, which hasn't really been shown through film a lot. We've seen it addressed a little bit, but they really show the ins and outs, the awkwardness, the tension, the guy's response to it, the women's participation in it. It shows a lot of angles to a lot of rawness when it comes to the bedroom. It talks about black sexuality. So Kwame is struggling with his queerness, but he's also trying to navigate, am I straight, am I gay? He also has very traumatizing experiences with men, so it talks about that. It also talks about Terry. She has a threesome while they're living in the UK, so she is totally open to this like explorative, fluid sense of having sex and inviting other people into the bedroom and not feeling less than or like it's a gang bang, right? She's enjoying herself. She took from the experience what she needed and she grew from it. They also talk about consensual sex, like I said. No film really directly approaches the conversation about the margin between your first time and seasoned. So most shows will either highlight your first time, or they'll highlight things like how Stella got her groove back, right? Like she's already seasoned, she's gone through life. What does she need to reignite the spark? But this show talks about between that bridge of 20 to 30, what am I doing to keep my life growing in a sense, and what am I doing to learn new things and to open up certain areas of my life. So I really enjoy that because that's where I would say I am right now. I've gotten past the first times of life. I'm sure I have a lot more to go, right? But as far as the basic first times, I've surpassed those, but I'm not seasoned either, and I don't feel seasoned to life. But there are certain things I'm learning for the first time and exploring for the first time, and it's refreshing to see this through film, especially when it comes to consent, because I'm sure most women can attest to the experience that you have had, the sexual experience where you weren't totally in total agreement with, or that you totally enjoyed. So it highlights that a lot in film during some of the scenes and episodes. I also like that it doesn't use AAVE, and if you don't know the definition to that, I will pop that up on the screen in a second. AAVE is basically like, or AV for short, it's basically like black colloquialisms and culture, and a lot of times shows will incorporate this to keep us drawn in, but it can also seem a little bit corny, and it's things like sis and child, it's like all of these black culture, which also is in some ways stemmed from the queer culture as well, but it's things that we use within our talk every day that shows will try to incorporate to relate to us, but sometimes it's a little bit forced, and you can tell in the writer's room it was kind of just thrown in there. Like even with films like Queen and Slim, I loved it, but they talked about things like smacking, like you're smacking your food, which is a black culture thing where people don't really appreciate for you to chew with your mouth open, but it's just the way they threw it in the film. It wasn't relevant, but they wanted to put it in there to express their blackness. But what I love about this show is it doesn't come across, when it comes to black concepts and blackness in general, as it's not trying to get us to laugh. It's trying to get us to be uncomfortable, to be a viewer from the outside looking in of somebody else's experience, and to interpret that experience how you see fit. So I love the show for that. Non-use of AAVE, it's like, it's not aiming to give me like giggle points or comedy points. It's not aiming to appease me. It's really aiming to have those uncomfortable conversations, and for you to see yourself mirrored in film. That's really what the intention of the show is. So just to recap, the rawness through sex, consensual sex, and emotional boundaries in your 20s, what that looks like, how does it look to explore that, non-use of AAV, and then I also like the proper use of social media. Social media is another one that I feel like shows will try to falsely implement just to show that they're trying to relate to the current times. But what I really like is with Michaela's character in I May Destroy You, who is Annabella, she becomes a pioneer almost for young women who have struggled with rape or non-consensual sex, and she becomes a leader on social media. But they didn't implement that too soon. They didn't turn that into who she was before we knew her backstory. They gave us that proper use of social media, so I don't feel like it's forced. I feel like it's properly used, and I love that. And lastly, so I guess I have around 5, but lastly is addressing the constant state of rejection. Like, it's one thing to feel like you are mismanaged or misjudged by others, but it's another thing for the door to just be slammed in your face. And a lot of times in this show with Annabella, we see her trying to reach out and trying to gain clarity with some of the areas of her life that makes her comfortable, and they just continue to make her not comfortable, right? And it's just refreshing to see, like, wow, like we all have those moments where figuratively and literally the door is slammed in our face, and we're having to look for what's left of the ruins and be like, how can I interpret this experience? How can I do better? Or am I gonna continue to go down this rabbit hole of self-destruction? You know, and I think that's what the show, just to wrap this whole concept up, is I may destroy you, meaning me or somebody else, or figuratively a concept, a season. It's all very open to interpretation, and that's what I love about it. And lastly, you know, I've looked at a lot of interviews with Michaela because I really appreciate her director's touch and what she does to the show intentionally to make us feel certain things. And she has this scene at the beach, and I believe the show starts with that scene. And my last episode that I've watched, haven't watched one episode, but the first scene of the season starts with her at the beach, and she is pretty much in turmoil, and she's looking around afraid, and she says in her interview that the reason why she interpreted it that she was paranoid with her own self is because she was fearful of herself. And I think that that's something oftentimes, the mirror work and the shadow work that comes with self-development. We are very afraid, and we are very afraid of being alone, afraid of facing that fear, afraid of facing where our faults are. And I think this show just does an awesome job at developing the characters. And of course, I'll have another time where I sit down with more tailored situations like Kwame's rape scenario, or a lot of Annabella's misuse in the sexual bedroom where she's taken advantage of, or Terry, which is a big bomb of the show that has yet to be released, that Terry is the one who actually in the beginning, without giving certain nuggets, it has a large part to do with why Annabella ended up in the situation. Or was she? You know, was Terry that much of a bad friend that she left her in that situation? And that's kind of how the season starts, where Annabella is in some sense drugged up to the extent of she doesn't remember her night, and Terry is the one who was the last one with her, and she left her and just said she can fend for herself. So that's just a brief synopsis of a couple of things that I really like about this show. I would love, like I said, to get the conversation going, to know what your thoughts are about the show, what triggered you, because there are a lot of triggers with this show. They are talking about a lot of sensitive topics that we've never seen on film before, and it's dope that it's coming from the UK. We are, as the United States, able to pitch in on this story and see where people in film here can step it up and can get more say-so on what stories they want to be seen. So please, like I said, comment below if you're a watcher, if there's a scene that resonated with you, or if there's another show similar to this style, transparency and 20-somethings and navigating life, that you would like to see from me as far as a review. Please let me know. Comment, like, subscribe, and thank you again for watching. I said I was going to be consistent. I've been saying that every single video, but I'm very proud of what I've developed thus far, and I feel very fulfilled in what I've been giving you guys. But please always let me know in the comments if you want to see more, if you want to talk about more. Like I said, my main cornerstone is conversation, so I just want to open up the floor to everybody. Thank you again for watching. Peace.